Hi everybody, welcome to today's story time. Today we're going to read a brand new story and we're going to keep thinking about the ways that animals depend on trees, and we're also going to start thinking about the ways that humans, people, depend on trees. So today's learning target is I can determine the main idea of the book, Be a Friend to Trees. Determine the main idea is the same learning target we had the last 2 days. Remember, that means we're going to find the main idea. We're going to think about what it's mostly about, what we're mostly learning about how animals and people depend on trees. So here's today's story. It's called Be a Friend to Trees. The author this was written by Patricia Lauber. Remember, the author writes the words in the story. And the illustrator right here, her name is Holly Keller, and she drew these beautiful detailed pictures, and I'm going to make sure to zoom in on them today so you can see all the details. All right, let's get started. Be a friend to trees. You can already see this book has some labels by the pictures. Labels are words that help us remember what each part is. So this is pointing to the trunk, the outer bark, the inner bark. We see a twig, branch, and some leaves. Be a friend to trees. Trees are nice. They're nice to look at and nice to have around. Trees are also useful. Both people and animals need trees of all kinds, sizes, and shapes. So we need all different kinds of trees for different reasons and for different things. Here's a couple different types that we'll learn about. The sugar maple tree right here. There's something really interesting near the sugar maple tree. The eastern white pine tree looks a lot different. The gray birch tree all have different needs, and we're going to find out why. Everything that is made of wood was once part of a tree. Look around you. How many wooden things do you see? Make a list, and don't forget to count your pencil and maybe your house. So all things that are made of wood are made from trees because the wood comes from the bark of a tree. A lot of white oak trees make a lot of wooden products. So I want you to look at the pictures here. And then I want you to stop and look around your house, look around your bedroom, and you might even pause the video if you want, and think about some wooden things that you see, things made of wood. If you want, you can make a list just like this boy did. After you do that, we're going to do something fun. I want you to choose one of those things, either something you see in your house or something you see on the pages here, and act it out. So pretend you're holding one of those things and act out what it would look like. So I'm going to show you one example. If I had a baseball bat, which is made of wood, I might grab it in my hands and practice batting. So I remember that a baseball bat is made of wood, which comes from a tree. I want you to try that, and if you have a lot of fun with it, feel free to send me a video so I can show the rest of the crew. You can also send me a picture of your list if you want, so we can send that to the crew as well. So what did you learn from these pages about what we get from trees? Tell a family member what you learned about what are some things that humans or people need from trees. And let's keep reading. Paper also comes from trees. What? Wood is chopped up into small pieces. You see the wood being chopped up right here. Mixed with chemicals and heated. So it's mixed with chemicals and gets really hot. The wood softens, so it gets a lot softer and becomes pulp, which is used to make paper and cardboard, writing paper, books, newspapers, magazines, paper towels, cereal boxes, milk cartons, and many other things. Make another list now. Oh my gosh, what a fun read aloud today. Of everything that you see in your house that is paper or cardboard. And don't forget the paper that you're writing on. Wow, a lot of things are made from paper. Remember, the paper comes from the wood chips. It's cut up really small. Remember, the wood comes from the bark. Some trees can be tapped for their sap. Sap from different trees is used to make maple syrup, chewing gum, soap, paint thinner, and rubber. Wow, I didn't know trees made so many important things. So there is an important word on this page, sap. Will you say that word with me? Sap. Let's tap it out. Ready? Sap. I actually made a word wall curve for the word sap too. And I'm going to send your families a copy of our word wall so you can remember this word sap. Sap is this liquid substance inside of trees. You can't see it on the outside, and it's kind of sticky. And what it does is it carries the nutrients. Remember that the roots got the nutrients from the soil, and it helps it carry it to the other parts of the tree. So the liquid sap moves throughout the tree and brings the nutrients to the leaves. Sap is super duper important. But sap, we can also use it to make things that we need. So I'm going to show you some things that it helps us need. So this is a sugar maple tree. We saw that on the first page. And sap from the sugar maple tree actually makes syrup that we eat on our pancakes and waffles. Can you believe that comes from a tree? This tree is the white pine tree. And the white pine tree, the sap in there makes gum for turpentine and rubber. So all that gum that you chew, that actually comes from sap from a tree. And the last tree on here is the rubber tree. I wonder if you know what that one makes. The sap from that tree makes latex, which turns into rubber. Some like you see in your stretchy toys or some other materials you might see around the house. So I want you to think about what you saw on this page about paper and on this page about sap, and think about what information do the pictures, do the text that I read, and the labels that we looked at, those are the little words by the pictures, what does that tell you about some more things that we depend on trees for? Tell a family member what are some other things that we depend on trees for. And then if you're ready for another fun activity, you can stand up and act out one of these ways that we use sap. I think I'm going to pretend that I'm eating a plate of pancakes and I'm pouring my syrup that comes from the sap on my pancakes. Let's keep reading. There's a few more pages of things I want to show you about ways that we need trees. Trees are green plants. We know that. We learned that last week. So they make their own food. Green plants are the only living things that can do this. Other living things depend on green plants for food. That means other living things need the green plants to make their food. Some eat parts of plants, and some eat the plant eaters, and some eat both. You eat the parts of trees known as fruits and nuts. Apples, oranges, pears, cherries, peaches, walnuts, almonds, pecans, hazelnuts, and lots of others all come from trees. Chocolate also comes from a tree. It's made from the seeds of a cacao tree. So here we see a Valencia orange, Rome apples, Queen Anne cherries, and the walnut all come from a tree. What did we learn on this page about ways that people need trees? What are some things we get from trees? Let's keep reading. Many animals eat parts of trees. Caterpillars eat leaves. So do deer. So do koalas. And so do giraffes and elephants. Ooh, giraffes are one of my favorite animals. Porcupines eat the inner bark of the trees as well as the buds and twigs. So a lot of these animals eat the leaves, but some animals like porcupine eat the bark. There were also 2 other words on that page. So the first one was bark, and we learned about that on our field study. Remember, that's the outer part of the tree that keeps it, protects it. It also eats the buds. So the buds are the little, they're like the small swelling on a plant when it's just starting to grow a new one. So we've got the branches here, and when it's ready to start growing leaves, you'll see little tiny buds. That means a flower or a leaf is starting to grow. Porcupines really like to eat those. And then the other word was twig. A twig is like a small branch. So it's not as big as these parts of the branch, just a small part that the porcupine can eat in his mouth. So these pages tell us about how animals depend on trees. I want you to think now about what did you learn from the text and the illustrations about how animals depend on trees and how animals get food from trees. And if you're ready for one more fun acting out that you can do for fun or take a video of if you want, you can act out one animal eating a tree. I think I'm going to pretend to be a giraffe, reaching my neck tall and eating the leaves from the tree. Let's read one last page. Squirrels and chipmunks gather nuts to eat. Bees find food in the flowers of a tree. They collect pollen and the sugary liquid called nectar. Birds eat the seeds and fruit from trees. You can see some birds up here. And those are only a few of the animals that find their food in trees. Here's the squirrel. So based on all of these things we read from the story today, we thought about some ways that humans depend on trees and some ways that animals depend on trees. I want you to think about what this book is mostly about so far. What's the main idea? What is this book all about? Tell a family member what this book is all about. What's the main idea? And then make sure you listen to the other video so you can see what writing assignment you're going to do today about how people or animals depend on trees. I hope you loved this story as much as I did, and I hope that I get some videos or pictures of you acting out and making lists of ways that you see trees in your house. Have a nice day, and I'll see you tomorrow.